She was 8, cold, crying, her skin bruised, her feet bleeding, and when she screamed for help, people just closed their doors. But then, a black car stopped and the man inside wasn't just anyone. He was one of the richest men alive. The storm that night didn't care who lived or died. God, it came roaring through the city like a beast, swallowing light, freezing breath, burying hope, and somewhere in the middle of that chaos was a child, a little girl, barefoot, shivering, her small frame wrapped in nothing but a torn, muddy dress. Her name was Amara, and she was walking through the snow, alone. Every step she took left a faint trail of red in the white. Her lips were cracked, her fingers blue. She was too young to understand why the people who were supposed to love her hurt her instead. Hours ago, the shouting had started again. Her mother's boyfriend, drunk, cruel, and angry at the world, had thrown a bottle, then his fist. When Amara tried to stop him, he turned on her, and when it was over, he dragged her outside and locked the door. "Stay there, you little mistake." He yelled. The door slammed. The lock clicked, and the snow kept falling. Now, her tears froze before they could hit the ground. Her breath came in shallow bursts. She whispered into the darkness, "Mama, I'll be good this time. Please." But no one answered. Only the sound of the wind. Miles away, a man named Ethan Cole sat in the back of a sleek black Mercedes, the heater humming softly. He was a billionaire, the kind of man people whispered about. Ruthless in business, cold in life. Tonight, he was driving aimlessly through the snow, trying to silence the ache in his chest. A year ago, he'd lost his wife and daughter in a car accident. He hadn't smiled since. Money couldn't fix grief. It just gave it fancier walls to echo inside. His driver glanced in the mirror. "Sir, we should head back. It's getting dangerous out here." Ethan didn't respond. He stared out the window, into the blur of snowflakes, until something caught his eye. A shadow. Small. Moving slowly across the road. At first, he thought it was a stray animal. But then the headlights hit her. A little girl, barefoot, crying. Ethan's breath caught. "Stop the car." The driver hesitated. "Sir, stop the car." Tires screeched against ice. Ethan jumped out, the wind slapping his face. He ran toward the figure in the snow, and what he saw made his heart twist. Little girl, barely standing, her knees scraped and bleeding, her arms trembling as she tried to shield her face. When she saw him, she flinched, as if expecting another hit. "Hey, it's okay," Ethan said, kneeling. His voice cracked. "You're safe now. I promise." She tried to speak, but only a whisper came out. "I'm not supposed to talk to strangers." He smiled gently. "Then it's a good thing I'm not a stranger anymore." She fainted in his arms before he could say another word. The hospital lights were harsh and white. Ethan sat by her bedside for hours, watching her chest rise and fall under a tangle of wires and tubes. When the doctor finally spoke, his voice was grave. "She's hypothermic, malnourished, and terrified." Whoever did this didn't just hurt her, they broke her spirit. Ethan's jaw tightened. Not anymore. Days passed. Amara slowly opened up, cautiously, like a flower unsure if the sun was real. She told him pieces of her story. The cold nights, the yelling, the hunger, and for the first time in years, Ethan felt something powerful stir in his chest. Purpose. He brought her warm clothes, books, hot chocolate. He sat by her side every night until she fell asleep. One evening, Amara looked up at him and whispered, "Why do you keep helping me? You don't even know me." Ethan paused, his eyes glistening, "Because once, I couldn't save my own little girl. And maybe helping you is how I make peace with that." Weeks later, Amara was strong enough to leave the hospital. She had nowhere to go, until Ethan made a decision that shocked everyone. He didn't just offer her a place to stay. He adopted her. Cold-hearted billionaire. Adopt homeless girl found in Snowstorm. But the truth was deeper. Ethan didn't save her out of pity. She saved him. Years later, Amara stood on a stage beside Ethan, now a young woman, radiant and strong, speaking at a charity for abused children. The crowd listened as she said, "I once thought the world had forgotten me. But all it took was one person, one act of kindness, to remind me that love can still find you." Even in the coldest storm, the audience stood in silence, many wiping tears. Ethan, sitting in the front row, smiled for the first time in years. Not the smile of a billionaire, but of a father who finally found peace in a world that turns cold too easily. Compassion is the only fire that never dies. Remember, it costs nothing to be kind, but it can mean everything to someone who's freezing in silence. If this story touched your heart, tell us where you're watching from. And subscribe for more stories that remind us, even the smallest act of kindness can change the world.